You ready to rock?
I've been ready.
Hey, man, welcome back to another episode of the No Hedging Podcast. I am your host, Ty the Jet, and I got my guy here.
Rip 16 to go, man.
Yes, sir. You know what time it is. We're back with another episode, Week 12, takeaways from the NFL season, man. Before we jump into it, make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel so we can continue bringing you guys heat for the NFL season, along with the NBA season, and college playoffs is on the way too.
Yes,
so,
it is.
Make sure you guys subscribe.
Go Dogs.
All right. Make sure you guys do what you got to do. But let's get into it, man. Let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into it. Week 12.
Man.
What are some of your takeaways that you got from Week 12? I know you want to start with your dirty birds, don't you?
I actually don't want to start with my dirty birds, but I told you so.
You did.
And the dirty birds, since you brought it up, I wasn't going to start there. I was going to start in sequence. But since you brought it up so eloquently, the Falcons are back number one in the division. Like I said at the beginning of the season.
Barely.
Them damn it ain't barely. They 3-0 in the division. The Falcons win 2 more division games, and the division is a lot. It don't matter about the rest of those games. And then one of those is against the fucking Panthers, who've only won one whopping game.
The dysfunctional Panthers.
And then another one is against Tampa Bay, and that's a home game. We all know the Falcons play better at home than they do on the road. And then they got to play the Saints in New Orleans. That's probably going to be their toughest one because the Saints going to want their get back. But yeah, they actually used Bijan. Congratulations, Arthur Smith. You actually used your top 10 pick.
Yeah.
That was nice to see. Fuck me on fantasy because I didn't think they were going to use him like that. But they did, and they used him well. And so I was very pleased on both sides of the ball. They came in, they knocked a couple guys out. Some injuries, that kind of pushed it. Chris Olave was cooking for a minute.
Oh, first half, over 100 yards.
He was cooking.
Going crazy.
Chris Olave was cooking. Not going to lie.
He stays in that game. We don't know. That game
he
could go a
stayed in
different
that
way.
game, he could move a little bit different. But they hit Olave. He took a hard hit diving up for the ball. He was making a nice catch, but he fell out of bounds. And
a terrible throw
concussion
by Derek Carr. Threw the ball pretty much out of bounds where Olave couldn't even get his feet down.
Bro.
And he got a concussion.
Derek Carr was doing Derek Carr things. He will come out there and look like a top 10 quarterback.
From the 20s.
And then he'll come out.
From 20 to 20. From the 20s to the 20s, he's looking good. Once you get inside that red zone, he turned the ball over, and you can't get they can't score any touchdowns.
Yeah, that's been a continued issue for them, and that's been very problematic. And the field gets shorter, so I mean, you can't take the top off if you only got to run 20 yards. You're gonna have to make something happen. You're gonna have to call some better plays. You're gonna have to your quarterback gonna have to shift the defense, look some people off. He was staring down a receiver, and Jesse Bates ran jumped track meet.
That play right there
changed
the game. That play right there,
huge play,
90-yard touchdown.
Great job,
pick
Jesse.
6. That changed the game.
It did.
That changed the game because at that point, I think if they get in the end zone, they're up 2 scores or a score or something like that, and Atlanta's in trouble. But that pick 6, that changed the moment, shifted the momentum in the game. Man. Granted, the Saints had some injuries. Marshawn Lattimore was out. Shaheed was dealing with some injury.
Shaheed got his ass hit.
Michael Thomas was out.
Michael Thomas was out before the game.
Yeah, so they dealt with some injuries.
That defense knocked some people out too.
Yeah, so I mean, salute to Atlanta. We both picked Atlanta to win that. At first, I was leaning New Orleans, but then I thought about the injuries that the Saints had, and that made me shift my position. So shouts out to Atlanta. They got the win. They lead in division with a 5-6 record.
5-6. That's all you need.
That's terrible. The worst record in the playoffs right now if it's a start today.
I'm okay with that. You said in the playoffs. That's the key word.
Yeah.
So what's another one of your takeaways? What about your New York Football Giants? How about that?
Hey, check us out, man. We represent
teams.
You know what I'm saying?
What's up with that?
Listen, defense is playing lights out. You know what I'm saying? There's some reports.
The defense is cooking.
That, Coach Dayball and Wink got some beef. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the game, Dayball gave Wink the game ball for at the end of the game. But defense was playing great. 3 turnovers. We still can't score points as often as we want to. Saquon wasn't very efficient.
No, he was not.
I mean, when you going against a
He didn't have that
Belichick,
many rushes though.
I'm saying you're going against a Belichick, defense who's really strong at stopping the run because of gap control and all that
Even without
stuff.
Judon, like they still.
Yeah. So, but they got Mac Jones on the other side, so that's what gave us an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Mac Jones.
Zappy was looking like he was about to try to, make a move at one point, but they couldn't really convert it.
All it took was 1 touchdown to win that game and a missed field goal inside the 20, and we got that dub. So I'm excited. Right before the bye week, we're 4-8. And we're only a game behind the Atlanta Falcons, so it ain't that bad.
You're not in our division, sir.
I understand.
The Falcons are 5-6 at the top of the division. Y'all are 4-8 at the bottom. Y'all, it's 2 different situations.
Well, our division is tougher, and you know that.
You got the Cowboys and the Eagles, brother.
Yeah.
You got a whole different set of problems.
Nah, but I'm excited how we played. Defense played lights out. We got turnovers, and that's exactly what we needed. Tommy DeVito, he's not. He's still a young quarterback, still learning, right? But he's throwing touchdowns and he's protecting the football, and that's all you need to do.
They holding it together with duct tape over there with DeVito. But hey, he got him 2 wins, so I mean I can't be too mad at him. Another one of my takeaways, getting back into my sequence, over the holiday, right? Every year, the Lions play, and they played against Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Tough matchup. Green Bay defense is another team whose team has some step ups. The defense started improving. You start getting kind of that early season Jordan Love type production that we saw in those first few games. However, the issue, I attribute that more to a Detroit loss than a Green Bay win, in my personal opinion, just because of how Jared Goff played in that game. Jared Goff from start to finish just looked a little bit off.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks in a row.
And I don't know if it's something going on with him physically that they're not saying or what it is, but I don't know. It just looked like he was not his normal self in terms of movement and how he looks on the field. It just looks like something is just off. I don't even know how to describe it better than that. But I think that was a big issue in the game with them not moving the ball for real.
It could be part of it, but I mean, I think part of it was obviously they couldn't really convert on 3rd and 4th down. That was part of the problem. And then when you turn the ball over early like that like he did, those fumbles, that doesn't help your team either.
Fumble. Yeah, I mean, you can't go back to back fumble.
But on the flip side of that, Jordan Love played very, very well. He started the game out with a 50-yard bomb to Watson, and Watson had the best game of his career on Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? He did. Jordan Love was willing to deal him, man. On 3rd down, he was making the throws to the people who needed to get the block. I mean, that first touchdown to Jalen Reed, he threw it right past the ear hole of one of the defenders, like in that tight-ass window. He was willing to deal him, man. So Jordan Love played a great game. They were aggressive, and they put a beat down on the Lions, man.
But part of that too, I attribute that the Lions secondary. I mean, with the exception of Aiden Hutchinson, who's going to put some pressure, and then you got a couple other guys who can put some pressure on the line, but that secondary gives up a lot of yards.
They was giving up points, man. That's what I've been talking about.
They've been giving up a lot of yards, though. They gave up all those yards to the Chargers.
Yep.
They gave up those yards to the Bears.
Yep.
They gave up those yards to Green Bay.
That's what I'm saying.
Past week.
Yep.
So the Lions secondary is a cause for concern, especially going into the playoffs, playing against some of these higher powered teams. Like that's an issue. You can't be giving up
their defense,
that many yards.
Their defense has definitely been
so they got to work on that. They got to fix that. That's something I definitely took away from that game to watch. Hopefully Goff pulls it together and gets back on track, coming down this stretch towards the playoffs. But that was a big one for me. And the other holiday takeaway is, Cowboys and 49ers, I kind of saw that going how it went.
Yep.
So I was pretty clear on that.
Yep.
The other one, though, the Dolphins and the Jets, right? The Dolphins beat the Jets in the fashion that I would think they would beat the Jets. But the thing about that game was Tua threw 2 interceptions with 1 minute left on the clock
Before
in
half.
the second quarter.
Yep.
Right? He throws a pick 6 on the first one. They return it. Zerline misses a kick. The extra point. Hilarious, by the way, because the announcer's like, well, maybe he missed it because he's not used to kicking them. And
Right.
so
That's true.
So he missed the kick, and then Tua gets the ball immediately back. It's about 30 seconds left on the clock.
Something
he
like that,
throws another pick
to the sideline. Yep.
to the sideline. But then the clock is running down. Field position is completely different this time. They have to throw a bomb.
Yeah.
They throw a bomb, and Miami gets a 99-yard
Javon Holland.
pick 6 for 99 yards
On a
to
Hail
run the
Mary.
clock down. So I don't know how you throw 2 picks in the final minute of a quarter and still end up getting 6 points out of that. 7 points out of that. I'm sorry, you scored more points than the team that got the 2 picks, and that's wild. But the announcer also made a great statement. If there's one play to sum up the Jets season,
That was it.
that's it.
I was thinking the same thing
That's
when he said
it.
it.
that is the whole season for the Jets.
Yeah.
Like, the defense is out here doing miracles. The defense is out here making plays happen, doing something. But when they get the ball on offense,
The offense is giving up points.
the offense is turning around and fucking up everything they
Giving
did.
points to the other team. That's crazy.
And that is the biggest issue with the Jets. I thought they came out and they played some very inspired defense in the first half, but then they just got deflated.
They don't have an offense.
They got
their offense
deflated
is a problem,
after that.
man. Their offense is a problem.
They really got
They
deflated.
can't score points.
And
That's
they're
the
not
issue.
running, and they're not running Brees enough.
No.
I think they're not running Brees enough because they're always fucking down.
Yeah. I just think there's not a commitment to it. They're not committing to it. You got to commit to it.
It's hard to commit to it when you're down multiple touchdowns already. It's like you can't sit there and run all game.
But I'm saying in the
run off that
beginning,
much
it's
clock.
like, bro, you still got to commit to it. Like, I don't see the commitment to it. You know what I'm saying? He had like, in the first half, he had like five carries for like 17 yards or 27 yards or some shit like that.
Brees needs touches off the jump.
I'm like, bro, why does he have 5 touches in the first half?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially after you out here getting pick sixes.
Like,
and shit
that's
like
what I
that,
was talking about. Like, it's more so on Nathaniel Hackett. Now, mind you, this is Nathaniel Hackett that was the head coach of the Denver Broncos last year. That was terrible. And look what's happening now.
The Broncos were terrible the first half of the season. They just got pretty good this last maybe 5
but
game stretch.
I mean, you got to
So-
change the culture and all this and that.
Right.
But look at them now, especially offensively. They're scoring points on the offensive side of the football.
They're getting a few.
But what are the Jets doing? Not scoring points. They look just like the Broncos looked last year.
And then they also brought in another quarterback this game. I don't think Zach Wilson was the problem.
They need to lean into Brees Hall. They need to
they gotta
lean
lean
into
into
Garrett
Brees.
Wilson. You know what I'm saying? You run Brees Hall. I don't care. Run them on first and second down, play action on third down, hit Garrett Wilson. That's all you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Do Brees in his flats or the screen, check downs, all that. You need to get the ball to those guys.
Brees should be getting over 20 touches.
100%. 100%.
So the next game, if the Jets don't do that, I mean, what are we talking about?
Yeah. Now, going into the Broncos, since we talking about them real quick.
Broncos country.
Hey, the Broncos, the hottest team in the NFL right now.
Yeah, they
what
are.
do you guys say about that?
Broncos, they turned it around, man. They turned it around. They got a 70 burger put on them. They didn't like it.
That defense, man.
And they got fired up. And they made some changes out there, and they started putting it together. Like I give them their flowers. You know, they switched it around.
Yeah, offensively,
I will be
they
the first
running
to
the ball.
tell you, I do not believe in the Broncos country.
Nah, you've been off of them for weeks.
And off of them, I just
You got to
tell
let
now.
that 70.
It's
point-
not. It's
you
not
gotta
the
let that
70.
go.
It wasn't the 70 that was on my head. It was also the offense that was on my head, and that's another big change. I saw Russell Wilson come out and play different. He looked more like Seattle Russell Wilson during this stretch than he did Broncos Russell Wilson from last season. The first half of the season, I was still seeing a whole lot of last season offensively.
Yeah,
though.
I mean, it's a new offense, new lingo. You got to change. You got to get used to it.
But he's a lot more dynamic. You see him scrambling around. You see him making some shovel passes. You see him doing things that he just was not doing over the past year and a half.
I think he's more comfortable with this offense now in this part of the season because obviously last year you got Nathaniel Hackett's offense. Then you bring him in with the whole new entire system with Sean Payton's offense. And then he got to get accustomed to that. And now I think we're starting to see that he's comfortable with it and kind of understands what they're trying to do offensively. And that's what you get. You know, you're getting more production and more efficiency on the offensive side with him. So they're starting to score points and things like that. So, and they're taking shots down the field too. They're throwing the ball deep. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much how that offense is starting to change. You're getting Jerry Jeudy involved. You're getting big shots down to Cortland Sutton. Now you're throwing the ball to Mims. You know what I'm saying? You're spreading the rock around. So, and then running the football too. You know, they're doing a good job of running the ball.
Jerry Jeudy being involved is also another thing because he wasn't very involved.
Right.
So, you know, I think they've opened up the offense a lot more, and that's what I feel like has also contributed. Because the defense, even early on, before the offense started clicking, wasn't really playing terrible, with the exception of maybe like a few games. It wasn't like they were just getting blown out. But they closed up those run gaps. After Breece Hall got 150 on them, they actually ran Breece that day. Breece got 150 on him. Somebody else had a big rushing game against him. I can't even remember right now. But between the Dolphins game, the Breece Hall game, and another game where someone went off on them, they kind of tightened up on their run. Some. Not so much to the point where you can't run the ball on them because you can still get some yards on them rushing. But it's a lot more all around secure on the defensive end of the ball. And then the offense is clicking too. So with all of that being done, I do give the Broncos a lot of credit. I was not expecting them to put up that many points, but I think DTR going down in that game and, you know, just kind of what the Browns had going on. They weren't moving the ball. They ain't have shit going on.
He got hit hard. He got smoked, son.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
So, yeah, with all that being said, give the Broncos their credit. Yeah.
I want to talk about Philly, man. Philly, they are, 10-1 now?
10-1.
They are consistently finding ways to win, and they're not playing their best football, man. They're still not playing their best football. I still have yet to see a clean game by Philadelphia. They've been getting punched in the mouth,
the Bills,
dealing with a lot of adversity. You know what I mean? And they played like a Bills team that was desperate. You know what I mean? The Bills needed that win.
Yeah, they did.
So
they did.
For them to be able to be resilient through the adversity, you know, shout out to Jalen Hurts, man. He came through in the clutch when he's supposed to, when they needed him most.
That's what you need out of your star quarterback.
Nasty game with the weather and everything else like that, but took him to overtime. Fucking what was his name? Jake Elliott hit a 59-yard field goal in the rain at the end of the game to get him to tie the score to go to overtime, which is very highly unlikely.
Yeah.
But he was able to do that, and then, you know, the Philadelphia defense held up. Buffalo received the ball first. They stopped them, forced Buffalo to kick the field goal in overtime. Philadelphia takes the ball. Oh, thank you. We'll score, march right on down, score the touchdown, and get the win.
But that's what I love about that team. Just the resilience, like you said. They don't give up on a game.
No, they don't fold.
Nobody's going to get up on them and then just think, okay, we're comfortable now. We about to just take off.
Nah.
Like, it's not happening. They're going to fight back, and they're going to keep on coming. And they got enough firepower on there, whether it be Swift finally getting through and breaking a run off, or whether it be Jalen getting through and breaking a run off, or AJ taking the top off, or Devontae cutting across the middle, you know. And then they did that without Goddard. So, I mean.
Yeah. And they miss Goddard, though. They really do miss Goddard.
So, but that tells me more about the resilience of the team. Yeah. Like, you missing a very good tight end in that offense. So, you know, all of that lets me know that Philly is ready to make a serious Super Bowl run, not just a playoff run, They are looking for revenge, and they want that Super Bowl, and they're playing like they want that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now, if they can go ahead and put together some clean games, that's going to make them a lot more solidify them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're already a front runner.
Yeah.
But I think it'll solidify them, especially after that Chiefs win. I think that made them a front runner for sure, but it'll solidify them.
Bro, they got a tough stretch, right? They had the Chiefs, the Bills, desperate Bills. They got San Francisco next, and they got Dallas after that. So they got a tough stretch of games.
But they
coming
won
up.
2 out of 4 of those.
They
So,
did, and they already
two
beat
more.
Dallas once. But they have a tough stretch of games that can really determine, who they really are. Right? They can't against those two teams, Dallas and San Francisco. You can't play a sloppy game.
I think they also got to stay healthy.
Yeah, they got to stay healthy.
They got to be careful in some of these games too.
Yeah,
because you don't want to come down this late in the season to have like a major injury on somebody, and that's going to impede you in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, I do think that's something to. That's really the only thing that I'm concerned about is Philly. Like they getting in all these battles, and what is that going to do to the IR?
Did they do the bye yet? The bye week already? They need a bye if they haven't taken one already.
Did they?
I think
yes, they had one.
I think so. Yeah, they
had one.
They had one before the Chiefs. Yeah, but
they had one.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, I mean, Josh Allen played probably the best game he played all year. You know what I'm saying? He still turned the ball over, but
he's
the
good
dude
for a pick.
If
you can catch Josh Allen as a pick,
2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. He threw for 300 or some shit like that. Like the Philadelphia defense can be had throwing the football.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But Josh Allen played a great game. He was desperate. The Buffalo Bills team was desperate, and they needed to have it. And wrapping this up, talking about the Chiefs, I want to talk about the Chiefs and their win. They went down 14-0 to the Raiders in Las Vegas. The Chiefs found a way to win 31-17. And the significance of that game was the Chiefs finally scored some points in the second half after 3 games of not scoring any points in the second half. So that's a good takeaway. It kind of found a way to get some points.
Rashee Rice had a nice game.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that they got to use him. They got to build him up. And of course, he's going to keep developing and getting better. So that's a great sign that they're starting to shift off of just using Kelsey.
They have to. Because Kelsey's always getting double covered and bracketed and all this and that. Somebody else has to make a play. Whether you're running the football with Isaiah Pacheco, whether you're throwing the ball. I think, Patrick Mahomes likes Watson, number 84. And then, obviously, Rashee Rice is supposed to be that up-and-comer, but he has an issue with drops. He had 2 drops that game, too.
Yeah, you got to tighten up some, man. I mean, but they put it together. They won by 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, obviously the 2 drops didn't impact them too much.
Right.
And the defense is still.
But they played the Raiders. They play a bad team. So, what do you expect?
I mean, it's also a division game, too, though. Even a bad team in the division game can still be a little bit challenging.
It's the Raiders.
I act like Max Crosby not that
But
guy.
Max Crosby was a little banged up, too. He was on a little snap count. He ain't like it. But, he had come in and coming out and – but the Chiefs, they found a way to win after being down 14-0. That was the crazy thing. They went down 14-0. Josh Jacobs went nuts on them early. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, the Chiefs found a way to win. Shout out to Spags and his defense, locking them up, locking down.
That's what they do.
Turning up.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Hold on. Before you wrap me up.
Don't wrap me up.
M&F.
Okay.
The Bears and the Vikings.
The Bears Vikings, yep.
It was first of all, Joshua Dobbs had 100 yards rushing. I know you may not see that on the stat sheet, but it's probably because
it ain't on the stat sheet.
Because 81 of those motherfuckers was probably behind the line of scrimmage. So if they had him running a lot, they also had Justin Fields running a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't even remember his rushing yards number. Maybe you can refresh mine, but he had a lot of yards behind the scrimmage too. So they were chasing those quarterbacks. Yeah. And they were running. Joshua Dobbs, the turnovers were about the defenses. The turnovers, the defenses, they played. Like they was dialing up. Justin Fields had 2 late fumbles.
Terrible fumbles. Bad fumbles.
Bad timing on the fumbles. Terrible. Boy, that could have got ugly. The defense saved his ass.
Yeah.
Joshua Dobbs had some bad turnovers. 2 of those picks I attribute to the wide receivers. He had 4 though. 4 interceptions. It's tough. And it was 1 touchdown in the game.
Yeah, that's all. 1 touchdown.
And they still lost.
And the team that scored a touchdown did not win.
The team that got no touchdowns ended up winning. They won off of 4
field goals. Yep. And then one of them was missed.
Right. Could have been 5.
Yeah.
But to me, I just take that as it was a dogfight. It was an ugly game.
Another primetime.
Minnesota lost a tough one. I don't know if the coach after that game questions whether or not, damn, should we have put Justin Jefferson in?
Nah, not that. Nah, not at all.
You don't think so?
Nah, not yet. They not going to bring back Justin until Justin is 100% or close to it.
Well, they're going to have to bring him back after the bye week.
And Justin said it himself. He's like, I'm not coming back until I'm ready. I don't care about your parlays. I don't care about your
fantasy. It ain't nothing to do with the parlay. I'm talking, fuck the parlays and the fantasy. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about what the team needs to actually make a run for a wild card spot.
Yeah. I think he'll be coming back. I think he'll come back after.
He has to come back after the bye week.
After the bye, for sure.
Because the IR stretch, he's already passed that. Yeah. And then he has the reactivation window, which is 21 days. So
yeah, I think he's good.
They used the bye week as an extra week in there.
Yeah, I think he's good, though.
So they definitely needed him.
But right now, the question is, O'Connell, he said, I'm going to reevaluate my quarterback situation. So it's not for sure if Dobbs is going to be the starter next week, but when they come back, not next week, when they come off the bye, which probably he will be, but
he should be.
He's just saying, I'm going to evaluate my quarterback
situation. I'm not gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. When it comes to Joshua Dobbs on that game, the 4-pick game, like I said, I don't believe 2 of those picks were his fault. I believe he was playing against a very dialed up defense. Mm-hmm. They was chasing him down.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he had to play against a good secondary. And we're still looking at this Vikings team and we're evaluating them, and they're missing their number 1 receiver for 8 weeks now going on, 7-8 weeks. So that's something to take into consideration before you just blame the quarterback. I mean, he just got there. He's only been there a few weeks, but they managed to put together some W's in those few weeks too. So I'm not going to just throw him out off of this one game. I think Dobbs should definitely still be the starter. I got to see who they play after their bye week. But you need Justin Jefferson out there for them to make a playoff push. So that was one of my takeaways. When Justin Jefferson gets back, I think the Vikings are still in a position to make a wild card run. But we'll see. That was a tough one.
Yeah.
That was a tough one.
Well, those are our takeaways, man. So if you have some comments below, make sure you hit them down there. Let us know your thoughts on that. What are some of your takeaways from Week 12? Stay tuned for Week 13, up and coming. Rundown, man. We got the rundown, best bets, and dog of the week, and you don't want to miss it. So make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel.
Yes, sir.
Until next time, peace.
Peace out.